Okay. So we have closed the initial part of the void. And so now the next question is, can it clear that area and move up to this, let's even say 2,600 level in the S&P futures? It would be quite impressive, from this low down here that it made. This was the pullback yesterday, and maybe I didn't say it strong enough. You're welcome to let me know. But I did point out at the time that this is where the markets should move up from. We were looking at the 5-minute chart, and I explained that based on the 60 and the 30-minute chart, that this is where, if a rally was going to ensue, that's the point from where it was going to do it. And that's when I bought Square and got a very nice gain out of it, posted that. And what I often do, there was more left in it, but I took the profit. It was a very nice gain in a short time, and things moved considerably further. In any event, you can see what happened here. As soon as the S&Ps hit this high, they began to back off, and now they're starting to go sideways. And as long as they hold this low, and we always look at, we look at a few things here. That was an explosive move up, right? And so now we had this little shallow pullback, and buyers stepped up again. And so we've got the momentum is slowed here a bit. We look at the distance between these highs, and that tells us that momentum is slowing. And then while I don't have it on the candles, you can see that the little slashes there between the open and closes are relatively close together. That also tells us that momentum is slowing. And the next part of the thought process that we go through is why? So when we see something happen on a chart, meaning bottoming type of price action or topping type of price action, the next thing you should be thinking of is why. Where's the confirming piece of information as to that being support or resistance? Or is it slowing on its way to that support or resistance and it's just a stalling point? Or could it be creating new support or resistance? So there's a process that we go through to figure out what's going on. And of course, we look at multiple time frames, to even put that concept together with what we're looking at in the time frame that we're trading. So looking at the daily and the 60-minute here, coming up to this level, things are stalled. Are they going to keep going? Now that this rally has ensued, two things come to my mind. Is that typically at the end of a quarter and end of a year, funds don't want to sell, right? They actually want to buy what has done well. This year, that didn't work out so well for them because as one started to sell, then another started to sell, and then the worst December in history, so we're told. And now the biggest gain in a day in history. So very historical events here in 2018, as well as the Mr. Schizophrenic type of market, as I've called it. So prices are in a downtrend. They're at a little bit of resistance. Ultimately, I think that the majorities don't want to sell and send it back down to the lows. And again, I'm thinking here, that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, but I'm thinking that it'll try and push up into this area, obviously, if you can get through these highs. And then, maybe that ultimately will be the extent of what we see, as this rally goes. And it's in a downtrend. What I do want to see to get really aggressive on the long side is a retest of this low. Now, the question is, does it keep going down? Because the monthly charts are pretty ugly. And so everything's in a downtrend at this point, meaning monthly, weekly, and daily. So this is a really impressive move. Ideally, prices come down and they retest this area, and then we get another event type of day, could be a big wide range bar, could be a bottoming tail bar, a breakdown failure, some confirming pattern that would then signal a bigger move that maybe could come up into this area. We'll see. So we've got more information to process as it evolves. That's what we do, kind of determine the probability of where prices are going to go. Is this downtrend going to continue lower? And so when we look at, and excuse all my little writing there, but that's kind of like what I do, marking up stuff as I see it and leave it there for further, reviews and confirmation of concepts. So this monthly bar now, that was a giant, big red bar. We've got a few more days, trading days left in this year. Where will it end? And it kind of, if it ends like in the middle here, that kind of throws a wrench a little bit for me anyway, as to a much more bearish view of prices going even lower. And that retest pattern just might be something much bigger comes out of. So we're always kind of updating and questioning our bias based on the information that evolves in front of us. So again, when this was a big red bar, the view clearly was like, this is bad news. It's broken trends, and it's going lower, possibly, down to here. And so we'll see what happens in 2019 and how this shapes up. So we're gonna get a weekly bar, right? Assuming today doesn't collapse, we're gonna get a weekly bar that is suggestive of a turn, and ultimately, what we're looking for is some kind of retest, which means we go down again into this area, and some bigger move could happen. Does it mean all-time new highs again? Oh, I really don't know. It's too soon to tell, but this is an impressive turn, and it kind of does change things a bit. And what I had said in the past was, look, this kind of drop, right? And we do have a measured kind of move there to say it's, that in itself is complete. But drops like this historically have to do something like that, where they do come up, and, this is still in the middle part here. And then we come down and retest and reverse, and then we could attack somewhere up here. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Well, they're playing some catch up. We reviewed some markets around the world yesterday at the end of the day, Stan, and they look god awful. Meaning, yes, they did have the type of reversal rallies that the U.S. market has had, but they look so bad. Vertical drops, big drops. The one that was emerging markets that showed a little bit of relative strength. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that for next year. But while our markets are up big in a short time, their markets are up big. We have to put it in the context of this huge decline that they've been through, and those markets look a whole lot worse than the U.S. market. And throughout this year, the question came up, well, how could the U.S. market be going up or not going down that much when those markets are just collapsing? Yeah. So, the differences in markets, there are always some differences, but the divergence between, our markets holding up and those markets collapsing was big. So let's continue. Now, the momentum is beginning to slow. One of the ways we look at that is the size of the candle bodies. The markets came back from yesterday's sell-off, and now we've got a little narrow-bodied bar. It's Friday. We'll see what happens here, but it's up against this little resistance area. So we'll see. Can it hold? Can it push up? It's created some support. And let's just go to the 5-minute for a sec. And so as I look at that pullback here, you see it's broken trend on the 5, but now it's trying to reestablish this area here and try and move up from here. So not only do we have what's over to the left there, today's high is now a reference point to trade against, to sell into. So we'll see in a few minutes. All right, let me get done here. NASDAQ, same thing going on there. Dow actually got through that area, so, and actually got up to the next one. So we're always looking to the left to see what these reactions are reacting to. And I said, why is the momentum slowing here? Look to the left. 99% of the time, there's going to be some reference point of resistance when prices are pushing up. And we look at multiple time frames so we can look inside of these bars to see that price action. A little bit more detail there. Bonds is holding up here. So far, so good, but you can see some selling is coming in, but all right, now it's forming a trading range. Either buy the bottom of the range, sell the top of the range, or stand aside now. Since the trend is up here, well, that assumes that it'll go higher and break out. The 20 and the 50 are pointed higher. 20's gotten above the 200, which is still flat. So it's coming out of a base, but it's up against this old resistance area right there. And we'll see what happens. Ideally, it goes down. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that either. And there we go. And then these long-term interest rates will go up, and the concern of an inverted yield curve will dissipate a little bit, and that would help the theory of a W bottom and market stabilizing and not continuing to go lower. So we'll see. Oil, some stabilization here in a downtrend. It's on some support. It's got a lot of work to do before we could even think about the possibility of this going up. And maybe if it does, all of those ETFs that have been crushed, like XLE and a lot of others, maybe they form W bottoms, and those will be opportunities in 2019 for counter trend rallies. Gold continues to grind its way up toward that next resistance area. Impressive move for gold. Why? I don't get it, but in any event, I mean, from an intermarket analysis point of view, I don't get it. But can't fight it. That's the trend. And transports, let's take a look, and bounce, but crushed. And so that is historically just a bad sign. And just going to the monthly, not as impressive. I want to look at the spiders while we don't have today. Again, sorry for all the mess there. But, big move to the downside and a lot of work to do to repair the damage here. And we'll see how 2019 is able to do that or not. So that's it. Dan, all yours.
Hey, good morning, all. Hey, Greg, with that potent, bounce off the prior lows, and of course, we would like the gift of a W bottom. We're in downtrends, this and that. I'm just curious, what do you think the odds are of us getting that double bottom?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
Right.
It's none of us know what's going to happen next week. We have theories based on what's now, and that's what I'm explaining. So we'll see how far this move gets off of the low before it turns down. Ideally, it doesn't get much further than what it is right now. because W bottoms have shallow counter trend moves and then retest. If it rallies deeply into the resistance overhead, it should not come down and make a W bottom. It should make a higher low or go sideways.
Exactly. And then, we've been saying, hey, we're in downtrends weekly, monthly. And so we're looking to short a bounce. And I remember saying to somebody in the room, I have no idea what that picture of a bearish reversal on the daily setup is going to look like. And I still don't. I can come up with a wish list, but depending on what happens, I could see us having a discussion someday, whether it's in a week or a month, saying, hey, maybe that climactic, weekly was the low, and we're just going to be in a trading range, But so anyway, I'm just talking different scenarios because we don't know.
So you baited me on that one.
Well, go then.
I mean, none of us know.
Right. Oh, I was thinking of you this morning, Greg, because some guy from Wells Fargo investment, whatever, he's blabbing on CNBC for a while, and he made this comment talking about the market. He's like, "Yeah, we're all in this and that." He said because, and so now I'm really going to bait you. I wish you had your charts up. He said, "Well, let me do it because I didn't look at it." He said he's bullish because we're on a trend line on the weekly chart from 2015. I'm like, where the F, and F stands for Frank, where the F did that come from?
Well, you're assuming he's drawing the trend line from the lower part to the upper part and left to right, whereas some of these trend line aficionados get really fancy and really, as far as trend line goes, really on the dark side. So maybe he's connecting those 2018 highs and drawing the trend line down. So you don't even know what I'm saying. But that's how sick they get. So those are the lows. What are the highs? The two high pivots.
No, I have. Yeah, I have seen people draw crazy downtrending lines, and they're like, look, boom, and this corresponds with my 31.946% retracement, and so we're all in.
That may be what he's drawing. Right. As stupid as it is, this is what's done and taught as far as technical analysis. I mean, CNBC has really, well, whether it's CNBC or some website that you're going to go to, the technical analysis paralysis, syndrome is in full, it's full. It's all over the place. And it's just one of the reasons why so many are so confused about, doing this.
Yeah. All right. So let's, we have a VXX call spread that it looks like we might have to roll to next week. I'll be keeping an eye on that. I'll send out an alert. We have a spider put spread that Greg gave yesterday. That looks fantastic. Greg did a day trade on that, nailed the low. Oh, Tony, you were asking short the rally on the daily chart. That's exactly what I was saying, Tony, that yes, we're still bearish, but as you heard Greg and I, bouncing back and forth there, and he said it on his own also, we don't want the retracement to get deeper, so we're still in information gathering mode on when and if we're going to short and what that picture is going to look like. So nothing is automatic, at least not now, except, for us saying with the cooked internals, we're looking for, put spreads and day trade longs and swing longs that that had the best patterns. A couple that I had on my list yesterday into the close. EMR, man, why didn't we give that? Chickened out, given that as a long. That was a 1, 2, 3 that I had on my list today, but you know, with the market ripping like it did, this is a 15-minute chart, but on my other computer, I have a 10-minute chart, which showed a measured move right here. And that's, you know, that's what we were talking about. And it exceeded the measured move. Apple, I'm keeping an eye on for a put spread for next week. And it's not a great pattern. It's not a directional, but it's oversold. The weekly's oversold. If the market holds, I think this, you know, again, even if it doesn't go up a lot, if it just chops around, we get paid for calling a bottom. CAG, I have as a long swing trade or day trade watch. Same with FedEx, and it's up here a little bit, but this could be both a swing trade long for a day or two. And, you know, we're just in management mode. We let the stock and the market tell us how far the dog wants to run. But also a put spread candidate. XOP here, I loved as 1, 2, 3. I sent out an alert to our subscribers yesterday saying they could enter early if they wanted, and it was over yesterday's high. It looks like it's up a quarter. So that was good. WBA, I have as a Climo watch also. I'm going to put that in a window. We missed our entry on whiskey here, but it still could be a day trade. The first retest like this of major support, and then you get your potent reversal. That was a good swing and put play. Frick, FRC, it's a subscriber emailed me on this and said they're going to be added to the S&P 500 because some company got bought out. And that's obviously what's creating this gap up, but it's too big now. Gapping up 450. Whiskey Bravo, I like this test of 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a put spread candidate. Tesla, I was thinking of giving a put spread yesterday into the close. The 300s, 290s were like 51 cents, but it was a big, ugly inside bar. I didn't want to take the risk. Papa Mike here, putting this in a window. Has another Climo, but they're actually lagging the market, right? They're lagging because look what the markets did, and they didn't do anything. This JD, this is a retest. This is a sloppy, big retest. The 20 MA is curling, and I like the weekly action. I'm going to put that over here. CVS, another Climo watch. We have a lot of Climos. XPO. This was the one on the bullish gap surprise. We sold naked puts, and for like 2 days later, we got out at 50% of max profit. But I kept it here on the list because we might do it again. Sell another put spread. There's that. Cron. Cron, we'll see if it can stabilize here, but it's on minor support. It's on the 50, and its options are juicy. So I'll keep an eye on that. Hey, look at this Johnson & Johnson. It's not textbook, but this looks like a breakdown to a failure, 2-bar 180 reversal. See that? So now that's a put spread candidate. It's a It's that's what it is. Put spread candidate. Let me put that in this different binder. But it's going to be hard here with the market extended. Oil still nothing there. UNG. Wow, we had a beautiful call. Remember I did the video that on this was when, do y'all remember optionsellers.com blew up in this rally? And that video that one of you all shared with us, I did a YouTube video on it. And it's where the guy said, yeah, I blew up my fund in the, the oil and gas sector. And then I said, look, now is the time to short it. I'm just assuming the guy was short all the whole way up. That's just, how else would you blow up your fund? Tilray, nothing.